So we pick up with you guys are on the outskirts of Llane, and as you approached the city gates, you were attacked, unprovoked, by the guards at the gate and the archers on top of the gatehouse. One of the archers got away. Korak jumped on top of the wall. He's there now. He caught the tail end of this kind of regiment walking out of the gatehouse. The last guard falls, the gate opens, and out comes marching a man, a human, dressed in a nice guard's outfit with a long trailing cape behind him. And behind him is a regiment of like 30 they're not like knights in shining armor, but they're not militiamen either. They're guardsmen, so they're armored and they've got nice equipment, and they all have long trailing cloaks with them as well. And they are just marching out straight towards you guys. And they begin to form an attack formation. And then as they get within eye shot of you, Korak, you're kind of watching this go down, maybe preparing an attack from behind. The leader holds his hand up to stop the miniature army he has behind him, and he steps forward. And he looks over all of you, and then he turns back and he looks at Korak. And then his eyes stop on Dane, and his eyes squint. And he takes a few steps closer, and you see him mutter something to himself, and then he begins walking straight towards Dane. He's just walking straight towards you.
Instinctively, I take a defensive posture.
I have to throwing spear.
You throw a throwing spear?
I heft it. I'm ready.
And I remember Ishtar. I think I ran with the Kenya, my donkey, behind a boulder. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, you.
Brave Sir Robin.
I have like brave Sir Robin. I think I have like 3 arrows in me.
Yeah, exactly. When he gets closer, Dane, you see familiar features on his face, features that are similar to yours. And when he gets close enough, he says, "I'll be damned. Gareth, is that you?" And then when he gets close enough, you recognize him as Aiden, your brother, who you thought was dead.
Okay. The party sees me as soon as I gain that recognition, the visual recognition and the visual memory sets in. I relax my posture, and I immediately reach out and embrace him.
And he'll return.
Korak is very confused by this. The guy did not use Dane's correct name. He launches a spear.
Okay, make an attack
You do
roll.
realize you're launching into you're launching into me.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Okay.
There's been a small little regiment of them that have pikes, long pikes, and they've come around and they're holding them beneath you, Korak. And one of them says, "Get down from there."
I like the high ground. I think I'll stay here until this gets straightened out.
And you guys are having this conversation.
Of course, now the platoon is completely confused.
When you bring him in for an embrace, he gets up close to you, and he kind of like he puts his hands on your shoulders, and you see this look in his face that he's truly like happy to see you and to know that you're alive, but there's something else there. There's a deep sorrow behind his eyes that you can't quite put your finger on, and he comes in close and he says, "Oh, brother, I wish you had not come here. Why did you have to come here?" And he'll lock eyes with you again and kind of like shake his head like there was some kind of like missed opportunity or something. And he'll say to all of you standing there now, he'll say, "We do not wish to kill you. However, you have killed 3 of our guards. And regardless, we must take you in as prisoners. There is no other way."
As Ishtar hears that, Ishtar comes back, pointing. He'll point at this Aiden guy, start yelling. It says, "You shot at us first. What were we supposed to do?" Like Ishtar's actually, you probably never seen him this angry. He's pissed. Like I'm not like galloping, but I'm going towards. I'm just pointing at. I guess Ishtar doesn't know his name is Aiden, but I'm pointing at the guy. Says, "We were just coming to the gate. You shot at us first without provocation. What did you expect us to do?"
And you see him kind of visibly wince a little bit at your...
And I still have the arrows poking out of me.
He winces a little bit at your scolding, and he kind of says, kind of sheepishly, he says, "Nonetheless, I have to take you in as prisoners."
How far are...
All right, I take my crossbow and I aim it at his head.
Yeah, and how far are his men?
Okay, so he walked out with about 30 dudes, and he walked up about 15 feet from them, so they are there in a kind of a
block formation.
Yeah, block. I don't know how many by how many it would be, 5 by 3 or 3 by 5, and they are there. They see you pointing your crossbow, and
I'm also gonna pull my bow off, but I'm gonna take 2 of my arrows, like I do with that split shot.
And once again, Ishtar repeats. I says, "We rode up here, and you shot at us first." I says, "What did you expect us to do?" You never answered that question.
Okay, seeing and sensing all of this tension, Aiden will go back over to you, Dane, and he says, with tears in his eyes, he says, "Please, I don't want to lose you after finding you again. This is the only chance you have of getting out of here alive." And he says this very quietly to you, so that the other guards can't hear. And he says, "This is the only chance you have to get out of here. Please, I beg you, let me take you in."
Tarask points the 2 arrows at the men, not him, and calls over him and says, "First 2 of you to move, gonna drop. Try to take us in."
Dane puts his hand up and speaks about as authoritative as you've ever heard him say. "Hold your fire." Shortly followed by, "Put the weapons down." I'm almost the point. This authoritativeness in my voice is almost the point of intimidation. It's not intimidation, but it's right on that edge. You've never heard me use this voice before. You've never heard me take this stance before.
So Ishtar
on you, on both of you.
Oh yeah, I'm not dropping my weapons.
Ishtar is not going to drop it, but I'll lower it. I'm not dropping it though.
Yeah, no, I'm not lowering it.
Ishtar has no idea what's going on, and he just got shot multiple times. Now he is listening. He's pointing it down now, but he is not dropping it.
Korak, make a perception test for me as you stand there atop the gate or the wall.
Okay. 16.
Okay, your ears are drawn to the marching sound inside the city below you. Your ears are drawn to the sound of regimented marching and heavy footfalls. The ground shakes a little bit at each step, and rounding a corner, you see 5 creatures that look like this. They're tall. They look like they have these. They look like they are tendrils of muscle bound by armor pieces, essentially. And they have these masks where their eyes basically just glow through from behind the mask. And they're all marching with their shield in front of them and the sword up, very robotic-like, coming around the corner, making their way to the gatehouse.
Okay, so I will yell to my compatriots. We have more coming, although they are not human.
Now, I'm sorry, you're up on top of a wall, right?
Yeah, I'm on the city wall.
Okay, and I know I'm still on my horse. I was at the end of the last session.
Mm-hmm.
Are we? So how far are we from the wall? Like, how far are we from Korak?
That's a great question. I haven't listened to the session, so I forget the dimensions I had said exactly. But
I believe I had ridden up to the wall with him, but he climbed up on his horse and went up onto the wall. But I'm not sure where the other two are relative to us and relative to the troops. I can't quite picture it right now.
So if you're up next to the wall, because I wasn't picturing you up next to the wall, but if that's where you were...
Well, I mean, if that's not where you were picturing me, that's fine, because I could have easily have just, as they came out, ridden my horse over next to the other companion. That's fine, because in the beginning of the session, that's actually where I saw myself, but then I remembered being up near the wall. So that's fine, wherever you had me.
Yeah, I kind of had you displaced from Dane Dane here kind of in the middle, right? He's right there in the middle, out in the open. And then you've got Ishtar, who's off to the left. And this is if you're facing the city. Ishtar off to the left, who was hiding behind some rock, and now he's shouting like a grumpy old man.
I'm probably closer more... I'm not right next to, like, Dane and his brother, but I'm probably closer to them more than anybody else, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then I envisioned you, Tarask, kind of further off to the right, in the same way Ishtar is off to the left, except you are on your horse with your arrows and your bow drawn, and then Korak is up on the wall, basically.
So I'm the only one mounted. Okay.
Yeah, because obviously I got down as soon as I saw... Once I recognized that was Aiden, I got down off of my horse. So I'm pretty much leading my horse with me. I look into Aiden. I look at Aiden and say, "Are you saying you can guarantee us our safety?"
I'm reacting to Korak, and I'm pulling my horse away, and I'm shouting to Korak, "Get down from there, you fool!" And pulling my horse back, and I'm kind of looking at Ishtar, seeing if he's going to respond to Korak's call the way I think we should.
So, Dane, when you say that, he pulls you in really close, and he's looking at you, and he's got his eyes are bloodshot from the tears welling inside, and he says, "If you're going to run and you think you can survive, then do it now. Otherwise, the only chance you have of surviving is coming with me."
Everyone sees me kind of nod at him, kind of nod him and understand and say, everyone, it's going to sound strange when I say this, but lower your weapons and let's go with him. I don't think we're in a battle that we can win.
Ishtar says, "You know this guy?"
I look at you and say, this is my brother.
Well, before you say that, I just want to say, when Ishtar asks you that,
Yeah.
Aiden kind of looks at you like he kind of looks down to the ground and his eyes are like searching for something, and he realizes maybe he shouldn't have made such a spectacle out of seeing you. And you see the hesitation in him when Ishtar asks you that question.
Korek's situation is I'm on top of the wall and I have pikemen below me, correct?
Correct.
So I either jump towards the robotic things or I jump onto a bunch of pikes.
Where you try to jump over the pikes.
Well, yeah, that's something. Well, by the way, where's my horse? I left it at the base of the wall.
You did. It had trotted off and made its way back over to Tarask, who it's most familiar with. So Tarask, you have Bloodfire next to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's like I like maybe reached down and grabbed his lead, and I kind of tied it to my saddle.
Yeah, and he looks pissed. He's like, he's stomping his hoofs on the ground.
All right, Ishtar will look over to Tarask and says, "You want to?" And he you see him pointing to Dane, "Are you confused as I am?"
Tarask looks like a caged animal. He's kind of freaking out at the idea of going in those walls and surrendering weapons to these people, these humans.
Yeah, this is probably the first time Ishtar is not joking either. Ishtar is fuming.
Yeah, Tarask is like seriously is twitching. I don't think he knows what to do. He's grabbing the leads and kind of flipping them from one side of the horse to the other. They're smacking on the sides, and he's pulling the head away and thinking about running, and then kind of turning back and not really sure what to do.
Now, has Korek ever seen any creatures like this in the arena or anything like that?
No, never seen anything like it.
All right, but we have 30 guardsmen out in front, and we have 5 of these things coming, and there are 4 of us.
That sounds like an accurate assessment of the situation.
I think fighting is out of the question.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking at least minimum of 30 versus 4, potentially double that.
Okay, so how high did we say the wall was? We said that the gate was 30, the tower was 30 feet.
Yeah, and the wall was about 24 feet.
30. I think we said the wall was 30 feet, then the towers were taller. I think that's what it was.
Okay, so the towers on the gatehouse would be probably, because I was figuring there'd be about
I'm not positive.
6 foot clearance
stood
for
on the
doors.
horse. He stood on the horse and climbed to the top of the wall.
I jumped. Yeah.
He jumped.
He jumped off the back of the horse.
So it
I'm
could.
not positive on those dimensions. For some reason, 30 feet ring a bell though.
Yeah.
I think it might have been 20 and 30. I think it was 20 for the wall and 30 for the tower.
Okay, maybe it was that. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds close enough to me. They're holding their spears up at you, but they wouldn't tell you to get down and then force you to jump down, impale yourself. They would let you jump down.
How far out from the wall are they?
They are probably just 10 feet out from the wall with their spears angled up towards you.
Okay. How much wall space do I have for a run?
Well, when you look up, you see the gatehouse in front of you, which is currently empty. When you look behind you, you see another 60 feet down, you see another tower, and you see coming from that tower is another archer who is approaching, walking quickly, but walking with a crossbow leveled at you.
Okay.
So you've got about 40 feet of running space one direction towards the guard, and then maybe further if you go through the gatehouse to the other side. You're not sure.
Okay.
No. No, Rory, I'm not going to do that.
As this moment intensifies, he looks at you one more time and he says, "This is your last chance. Choose."
No, Ishtar's not personal figure, that is.
No, he's whispering. He's whispering that to me.
Okay.
So you see me. I turn back to you guys, and now I had this look in my eyes. It's almost. Now I've gone from being forceful to almost begging, pleading, saying, "Please, put down your weapons. It will be best if we go with them."
That is okay. More. Does he mean like literally drop him on the ground or just like holster him?
I'm saying for you to lower your weapons,
Oh, I already
not
lowered
drop
it.
them. Lower them.
I already.
Okay.
Ishtar already lowered it.
He hasn't said anything to me about putting away our weapons directly.
No, Ishtar, when you did the speech before,
Well, no, I'm asking.
Ishtar
I'm
lowered it,
asking. Yeah, I'm asking Nathan. He hasn't really said anything to me regarding them lowering their weapons or sheathing their weapons or anything like that.
He wants you to cease an offense so that you may be apprehended, whatever that may entail.
Okay.
That means taking our weapons away. Yeah.
Well, Ishtar lowered his crossbow. He's just kind of waiting now.
There are 3 guards that are slowly making their way to you with their weapons drawn, cautiously kind of coming towards you, Ishtar. Now that you've dropped your crossbow, they're coming over too.
How is Tarask reacting right now?
I'm going to be honest, realistically, I think Tarask would just leave. Realistically, he would just go.
The only problem is Ishtar is mostly almost dead and on a donkey, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way I think Ishtar could get out of here fast enough. So.
Yeah, and probably one more hit would probably take him down too. So.
I mean, I just don't know how this would mechanically work out, but honestly, I feel like this would be a situation where Tarask wouldn't leave you guys behind. He would leave here and try to find a way to get in without being recognized. But I just don't see him putting his bow down and handing it to somebody else and putting his hands out to be tied up and brought into this city when he's sitting on a horse.
Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try animal handling and basically try to get Bloodfire to run.
Oh yeah, he'll come. Yeah, no roll is required.
Not towards me. Run away from me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you want to come? Okay, yeah, that will be an animal handling. Charisma
Okay,
animal
so
handling check.
Okay. I'm going to use the luck die on this. I did not. Ooh, not good. 10, 15, 17.
Okay, so yes, you've worked enough with him. He hesitates when you give the command. And he like he's trying to remember. He knows that was something you did, you guys trained, and that you taught him, but he struggles to remember it for a second. And then all of a sudden it clicks, and he starts to pull away from your handling, Tarask.
Yeah, I'll hear the noise and kind of feel him tug and just kind of toss the lead.
Yeah, and he'll start to make his way away. As soon as that happens, these automatons have made it to the gatehouse, and they have begun marching out. And so they come out, and now you can all see these things. And again, they look like these like tendrils of muscle. Just the only thing that's binding them together are... What's that?
Now that those things are coming out, they're visible now, right?
Yes.
Alright, as soon as that happens, Ishtar looks at Travis and says, "Go." And then Ishtar will get down off the donkey.
And Aiden will look at you, Dane, and his face just turns stone cold, and his face just goes pale white, like an abused child or something like that, and he backs away from you and draws his sword and holds it to you, and says, "Take them." And the 5 of these automatons in the back, you see them. It's very unnatural the way they capitulate their legs. They like spread their legs really wide, and they like get themselves in like this perfect running form, and they just start darting after each one of you. One of them is going to leap up in a single effortless bound up to the wall to you, Korak. And now it's initiative time.
Okay, how many are within 30 feet of me?
None
If
yet.
you're within 30 feet of me, you get an extra D6.
Oh. Ishtar is, and Tarask is. So for your initiative, you'll get an extra D6.
Even with that extra D6, I only got 11.
I got 21.
15.
16. Now, are they attacking us?
You don't know yet.
Yeah, Ishtar got down. Ishtar knows, like, there's nothing he can do, so...
All right, you'll have to give me your initiatives again. Korak, what was yours?
16.
16. Tarask is 15. Dane, what was yours?
21.
21. And Ishtar, what was yours?
11.
Okay. Okay, first to act are the oppressors, and they leap and bound forward, and within a matter of seconds, it seems, they are upon... well, first there's one on you, Korak, who has engaged you on the wall. He will take a move action, step up to you, and take a swing with his sword.
So he's attacking.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's going to drop 2 dice. And, he only rolled a 17 on that attack.
That does not hit.
All right. When it misses, you step to the side, and the sword hits the wall below you, and the wall below you cracks. The others will all begin running to. There's two that are running towards Tarask and Bloodfire, and then the other two are running towards Dane and Ishtar. That's their actions. Dane, your action.
Are they on? Is that thing on me now, or is it approaching me?
He's only about 10, 15 feet away at this point.
Okay, so it would be a move action
Well,
to move up onto it.
Actually, no, they're right onto you.
They are on me. Okay.
Yeah, they.
But it took all their actions to. It took all their actions to hit me, or to get to me.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to have to do this. I really did not want to have to do this.
While Dane decides his action, and he's, I didn't want to do this. Tarask and Ishtar make perception tests.
That's a 16.
19.
Okay, you both notice the guards, the group of guards there, are they seem to be looking at each other, and they seem to be very interested to see how this goes. They're not, like, they're starting to make their way towards you, but they're hesitant not to get in the way of these automatons.
All right. Let's see. All right. Something I don't get to do very often. I'm going to use my quarterstaff to attack. So 2 attacks. It'll be, let's see. Since I don't use it very often, it's exceptional, so I get plus 2d6 to the attack roll. So 2, 3, 4, 5.
As long as you have the skill to use it
for this attack. Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, okay, so 7d6 per attack. So 2 attacks on this thing. 2 6s. 16, 21, 23, 25, 26 for the first attack.
Yep, that one's a hit.
Okay, I'll go and roll the second attack too. There we go. 6, 10, 14, 17, 20, 26 again.
Okay.
And the damage is 4d6 plus 2. Um, 11 on the first, 13 on the first attack. That's better. 19 on the second.
All right, remember those numbers really quick for me. Was it 13 and 19, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you deal him a hefty blow. And you pong, pong, and there's some of the metal bracing along his neck like cracks and breaks a little bit from the heft of your blow. But then it just kind of slowly turns back and looks at you with this lifeless look in its red eyes. Then next up is Korak.
I was going to stand down, but he attacked me for no good reason. Now I have a question on my trip.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exploit, so it just is one additional attack, correct?
Yep, just an action.
Because I get 3 attacks with my weapon. So could I do 2 normal attacks and then the trip?
Sure.
Okay, because what I want to do is I want to hit him twice and then trip him off the wall, if
Nice.
possible. So,
now, if it's a move to, so since it's something you want to do to him, like trip him off the wall or whatever, then just take a negative 2d6 to that attack roll.
okay.
As a kind of called shot.
Okay. Well, I mean, my trip it negates called shot for trip, but because I want to get him off the wall, then it's the -2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you'll still do damage.
Right. Okay. So
because you have the trip exploit, I'll let you still do the damage because of that.
So 21 on the first.
On the first attack, he parries that one with his sword.
Okay. Okay, there we go. That's I got my double 6s, so that's a crit on the second one.
You were expecting that parry so you could land this attack.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then, so I will try the trip. It's going to be a little difficult. And 10, 7, that's only a 20, so I do not land the trip.
But you do land that nice critical hit.
Yeah. And that means it explodes. None of them exploded, and I did crappy damage.
Oh.
15 points of damage.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you sink your spear into his side, and you expected that to normally that would have been a whole bunch of damage, but this thing almost doesn't stop moving even with the spear in its side. It just continues to move. Next up is Tarask.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, so Tarask is he's turned around on his horse. He still has his arrows drawn, and Ishtar says go, and suddenly these things launch in, and he's got 2 bearing down on him. So he's just going to release the 2 arrows that he has in there, sending 1 at each of them. It's gonna 22
to hit.
Yeah,
that's a hit.
And that's gonna do 17 damage.
Really quick, remind me how much damage you did, Korak? 15, right?
You're on mute, Corey.
15.
15. Okay, I calculated the damage wrong. I had it that you did 11 damage, not. There we go. Okay, so 17 to that one.
Oh, you want the damage separate. Gotcha. So the second one is going to take 12 damage.
Okay. And that's your first action, right?
Right. And then I'm just going to kind of lean over the saddle and kick the flanks to send the horse into a gallop.
Which direction?
Is there a wooded direction?
Not for quite a few miles.
Okay, then in that direction, I guess in that direction, but I guess just across kind of these open lands.
Okay. All right, so you rear up your horse and you and Bloodfire begin to hightail it out of here.
Yeah, actually, exactly. In the same direction as Bloodfire.
You notice Bloodfire hesitates. He does not want to leave Korek, and he will stop in his tracks when he sees you start to take off. Then next up is the guards. They will continue to just kind of watch for the moment to see what's going on. Then Ishtar, you're up.
All right. So I see Tarask leaving. So wait, Tarask, did you started moving away towards the woods, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Ishtar. Everyone may start cursing Ishtar now, but what he's gonna do, he's gonna take a shot with this crossbow at the thing charging at him, and then his second action, he's just gonna get down, put his hands up because Ishtar is about to drop dead anyway. So, but for dramatic effect, I'm gonna do a shot.
Yeah, now, Tarask, you have a couple of options. You can ride south towards the woods, or you can ride, well, south towards the airship.
Oh, the airship then, for sure, where Daniel is.
Yeah. Okay.
Nathan, as far as like defensive posture in this, what would that do if Ishtar were not to fire but just go into full defense? Just giving him an option.
Yeah, taking I don't know if it's in the core rules or not, but there is a defensive stance that you can take that essentially just grants you some plus to your defense.
My defense is so
Yeah,
low.
I know that's it. I know that's the next week I can take with Warrior Monk.
You were breaking up.
My melee defense is low though, so I doubt it's enough to really
Okay.
stop a hit from this thing. So, all right. So my attack rolls 18.
It sails. Actually, it lands in the shield of this automaton.
All right. So oh yeah, I was already off the donkey, so I take that shot, and then I pretty much just dropped a crossbow and put my arms up, seeing Tarask run off in the distance.
Okay. Next up.
With the arrows still poking out of him.
Yep. Are the oppressors. Okay, so they will first the one on Korak. No. First the one on Dane. It does not like that you hit it. And it is going to hit back.
I'm not surprised.
It criticals, actually.
Oh, God.
Got a 32 with 3 6s, so explode, yes. Boom. No explosions, but it's 15 slashing damage for its first attack. And then its second attack is a 23 to hit.
That does hit.
Okay. So 15 damage for the first attack, and then the second attack is another 15 damage. The
Stoic kicks my stoic exploit kicks in. I have 1 hit point.
Okay, you are also bleeding from the critical hit. So at the beginning of your next turn, you'll take 1d6 bleed damage.
Okay.
So he just
Unless I try to shake the condition.
you'll take the damage first, then you can spend an action to attempt to shake it off. Yeah.
Which either way I'm down. So I'll have to. So I'll just. If I'm going down in a blaze of glory. I know it's my attack is next.
Okay, next is the one on the wall with Korak. And it does not like that you just tried to send it sailing off the top of the wall, so it will more accurately this time take a swing at you with a 27 to hit this time.
That'll hit.
Okay, his first attack is 18 damage.
Okay. Actually, that will not hit. It looks like it hits.
Okay, so how's Korak play it out?
Okay. So if he comes in, I'll sort of just roll with it and sort of bend over. And then I come immediately back with recovery and strike back. That's my new exploit.
Okay, does that let you strike not on your turn?
Yes.
Really?
Nice.
A single. Okay, you may make a single free melee attack until you make an actual regular melee attack. The free attack must be your first melee attack after using fake wounds.
That's so cool. Oh yeah, surprise recovery.
And I critted normally.
Yes.
With 3 6s.
So epic.
Yeah, I rolled a 31, so. And I'm going to throw in my youthful on the damage.
Just sprinting.
And okay, I rolled 2 6s.
Yes.
So that's 12,
oh, wow.
He springs back
12
up
and
and
6,
around.
so that's 18 points of damage right there.
Okay.
Plus 11 more. So that's 18, 29.
You're 29.
29. And I did roll a 6 on that. 32 points of damage.
Okay. Let me just take out his soak, and we'll see where we lie.
Oh, actually, 35 points of damage. I forgot my 3.
Oh. Okay, so for a total... Okay, that was enough to kill him. Excuse me.
Nice.
So he tries to run you through, and you're like, and you come back around with your surprise recovery, and you did it with so much like youthful aggression and force, and you caught it so off guard that you cut up through one of the plates holding his chest muscles together, and normally that wouldn't be enough. It's just these things are like bound muscle, but you thrust it all the way up into its head, and you like pop the top metal part holding his head part together, and he just starts to unravel from the top down, and he just falls apart around your spear and down to your feet.
Okay.
And all of the guards and all of the other actually no, the oppressors don't, the rest of them don't do anything, but the guards are all like and they're like tapping each other's shoulders like did you see that kind of thing?
Did you see that?
Yeah. And they appear now even more apprehensive to come and attack you guys. The third one is bolting for Tarask. Tarask, what's your movement on the horse right now?
11.
Okay.
If he's got higher than 11, then I'm impressed.
Well, he wouldn't normally, but he leaps. He's close enough to do a leap attack, which he will do.
Oh, God.
And let me just take 2d6 out, and he gets a 25.
Wow, that hits.
So he comes launching over, and he doesn't land on the horse, on your horse, but he slashes across your back with his sword as you are riding away, landing next to you. So you're still moving. He lands. You get a sword in the back for 16 points of damage. Then there was another one running towards Bloodfire, and it is going to attack Bloodfire. So you see it.
Oh,
What's that?
I'm sorry. I'm actually not going to take that damage.
Because your AC
my
is higher
horse-
because you're on the horse.
No. My horse is protective, so it negates an attack on the rider. Just one. And yeah, so I think when he's like falling at me to slash, I kind of like feel the horse buck, and all of a sudden the back legs come up behind me and hits this thing.
Yeah.
Maybe, no damage, just kind of stylistically, this thing kind of like hits off a hoof and just lands behind my horse instead of
Now, is
slashing
that
me.
once per day it can do that? Or
I thought I wrote down exactly what you said, but it just says what I wrote down was negates an attack on the rider. But that has to be once per day, I would think. I mean, that can't be every attack.
Let me just check real quick.
I mean, it won't matter for this instant here. Protective. Once per day, the mount takes a hit for its rider. The attack is negated. Great. Yeah, so it's coming down, and it will... Yeah, it senses it coming, and it kind of bucks reflexively, and the oppressor catches it on the shield and lands and snarls if it could. It can't. So yeah, the other one will start attacking Bloodfire. It has a hell of a time hitting it. Bloodfire is just kind of running circles around it at this point, and it's kind of running around with its sword in the air, chasing after this horse.
Yeah, Bloodfire moves at 14.
Yeah, this thing, he's having a hard time keeping up with. He could leap, but he can't find, like, Bloodfire's running circular basically around him, so he can't leap to get it. He's still trying to time it right. So he'll spend all of his move action, and then the last one, the fifth one, over to Ishtar. So Ishtar, you kind of like shoot your arrow, your crossbolt. It looks at its shield, and then it slowly looks up to you, and you're like, you just get down on the ground with your hands behind your head. You're like,
Well, I give it a salute first, and then I do it.
yeah. It
I give him the left-handed salute.
It walks over to you and will drive its sword down through your back and run you through.
Oh, God.
And then turn around and start walking towards...
That's what I figured, yeah.
So form an endurance dice pool for me. And it will start walking... Who's it walk towards? It walks towards Dane.
What is it?
2 dice.
2?
2 dice.
Oh.
Ouch.
Okay. So you all see this. And, yeah. Ishtar is...
Korak screams, "No, Ishtar!" And he'll start to run.
Yeah, next up is Dane.
All right. Like I said, if I'm going down in a blaze of glory. 2 more attacks with the quarterstaff, and I'm going to use a luck die on each attack.
Okay.
So first my regular roll. And now I'll roll my foul. Okay, and now my left die. Okay. Only rolled 2 6s there. So 6, 12, 17, 20, 3, 5, 30.
It's a hit.
For the first attack. Second attack. God, put some one down here. Well, that's what I get for having so many dice. All right, that one didn't explode either. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 once again.
That's it.
8.
Okay.
Second one, also 8.
Okay, so 16 total. Okay, that actually is enough to, oh wait, no, actually, no, not with its soak, it's not. But we're gonna say it is, because what happens is you, this time you smash it across the face, and, you knock its faceplate, like, almost off, and then you shove your staff up, and you hit the faceplate just right, and it shears the faceplate off, and the thing noodles down and falls apart, just like the one with Korak did. It's at that point that the guards see this happen, and they, well, when it gets to their turn, you see them take up arms against the oppressors. However, it is Korak's turn. So they they're not trying to spear you anymore, Korak.
At this point, I'm going to drop because like I said, I want to take when do I take the bleed damage?
Oh, at the beginning of your turn. That's all right. We'll take it now. That was a coup de grace.
Okay.
You fought it off long enough. You're like, no, not today. Doosh, doosh, and you drop this thing, and then you go down. You take 4 points of damage, and you go down.
Okay, and then I'll go ahead and at least roll to shake off. I get a +1 with the enduring exploit. So that means I can roll a 5 or 6 to shake it off, right?
Well, you can't shake it off while you're unconscious.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I just need to go ahead. I just need to go ahead and form my endurance dice pool.
Yep, form your endurance dice pool, and unless something else stops your bleeding, it's going to be one automatic failure for you at the beginning of your turn when you go to roll your endurance dice pool, because of the bleeding.
Okay. As I fall, I call out to Aiden.
Tarask.
Does Ishtar have the bleeding effect?
He does not. He just ran you through. Yeah, you're
okay.
Okay, so Korak, since he's still on top of the wall, will run the required 10 feet to make a running jump, and he will leap from the wall over the pikemen.
Yeah, they're not trying to get you anymore.
Yeah. And then once he hits the ground, he's heading straight towards the one that attacked Ishtar. Now, what do I need to roll for my leap from the wall? To try to minimize damage.
Probably acrobatics, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I have acrobatics.
Yeah, it's going to be agility or strength.
No, agility.
Acrobatics. And I'm not going to make it too hard for you because Korak is filled with rage and adrenaline and all this kind of stuff. He's not feeling this jump at all. So just get a 13 or higher.
Okay. My horizontal jump is 26 feet, just base. It's the vertical that's not as good. And that is 12, 17,
Good.
19. So, yeah.
Good. Yeah, you hurl yourself off of this wall, and when you go to hit the ground, you do a roll and you absorb the shock. and you just keep it in stride, and you keep running towards this oppressor who is now turned to face you.
Okay, and I mean, my movement. So we're technically outside the city, so my movement is at 10 right now. So can I close with him? And
Yes, you can. With that leap, you can close the gap for sure. You won't get an attack though.
Right. Yep. Okay. So.
Okay, so next are the guards, and you see them do something surprising. And Aiden, go ahead.
Actually, one thing, I will close to 10 feet away from him, so that he has to move in order to come to me, because
Okay.
I have reach.
Got it.
So I can attack. I can still attack him.
Perfect. The guards and Aiden all turn on the oppressors. Aiden with this look of reluctance and tears in his eyes, and like he doesn't want this to happen, but now this has to happen kind of look. He will run over to Dane and perform some emergency healing on him to save his life. Let me just see what he needs to roll for that. Logic check. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. He gets down next to you with the trained skill of a battle-hardened warrior, and he gets next to you, his brother, and he begins to suture your wound. He takes a piece of his and he ties it around your wound and everything, and he will he'll tend to you, and he will stabilize you, so you are up with 1 health and everything.
Okay.
Yep, and he'll hold you close, and he'll say, "Well, I'll be damned if we didn't die together the first time, then we at least get to die together this time." And then he'll stand back up, and he'll charge towards the oppressor that's attacking Bloodfire. The guards will surround the other oppressors and begin to try to take them down. And one of the guards runs over to you, Ishtar, and he will try his best to stabilize you. You have been stabbed through the back. This is going to be fairly difficult for him. You have a rather large gaping wound. He's only rolling 3d6, and he needs to get like a 13 on it. So let's see what he gets. He gets a 12, so he's unable to stop the bleeding this round. And the other ones they don't seem very effective against these oppressors. You guys seem to be much more effective at them, but they are whittling them down a little bit. Ishtar, it is your turn. Roll that endurance dice pool for me.
It should be my turn.
Oh, that's right. I skipped Tarask's turn. The guards were supposed to go after Tarask, so all that happens after this.
Yeah, so I mean, Tarask he gets jolted like in his run because the horse bucked. So this automaton is like right behind him. So he never took his bow out of his hand. He just pulls another 2 shots, and he rapidly fires one, then the next. And your dice rollers being halfway nice to me. I got no crits, but I got a 24 and a 23.
Those are both hits.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to add luck die to each of these damage rolls. And so first one's going to be for 18 damage with no explosion. And next is going to be for... Yes, it does explode. 24 damage with
Ooh.
the explosion. So what is that? What did I say? 16 and 24? So that's a total of 40 damage.
So you send
18 and 24.
yeah.
Oh, 18 and 12. Wow, okay.
Yeah, you send these 2 arrows, and they just go. And you shoot them at the same time, and they go right into his red little eyes. And the size of the arrows pop that mask off, and he noodles down and dies. So you took him out with one shot, basically. If he hadn't have been hit before, that wouldn't have killed him. But since he was
I
slightly
already
damaged,
shot him.
yeah, that
So
takes him out.
I'm gonna kind of wheel the horse around, and there's the automaton, I believe, that is attacking Bloodfire,
Yes.
and or trying to, but Bloodfire is way outpacing it. And then there's the one that had just attacked Ishtar, what would have been like 6 seconds ago, correct?
Yeah.
And I'm not that far from them. My longbow has, so I should be able to hit.
Oh yeah,
Is
you're
that a
not.
problem?
You're
Just
not that
pulled
far.
the sword out of me.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of aim. I'm gonna I feel like when I stopped and turned and shot at this, I would hear Ishtar scream, and I kind of look up and I kind of aim my bow, but then I kind of lean back a little bit to put like a 30-degree angle on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna use my automatic shot, and so this is just gonna hit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're Deadeye.
Yeah, Deadeye. Thank you. Okay, and I get one of those luck die back, but I'm not going to do this time, so I have 2. And this one is going to be for 14 damage.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it's sink, and it lands in its shoulder and kind of like protrudes out of its chest. That like the side of the arrowhead protrudes out of its chest a little bit, and it continues to walk towards Korak, who is charging it. Or no, you shot the one that was going towards Ishtar, or the one that was running for Bloodfire?
Well, there was one that killed Ishtar,
Yes.
or took him down. I figured like he pulled his sword out. I heard Ishtar scream, and I looked that way and fired at it.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
So whatever it does next, it gets like pinged and then goes about.
Got
its
it.
next move.
So this is going to be that minus this. There we go. I was damaging the wrong one. Okay, that's Tarask. Now the moment with Dane happens, he gets stabilized. The guard tries to stabilize Ishtar. They come down on the remaining 2 oppressors and are beginning to just overwhelm them. Ishtar, please make that roll for me.
All right, here we go. I'm doing one at a time.
Oh,
First one's a 6.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that one's a 3.
Okay. All right, you got one die left there. All right. Very good.
I think someone needs to put some points in endurance.
Next up are the oppressors, and the one going for Korak will use a move action to get up to him and then take a rather hefty swing towards his direction, and he gets a 25 to hit.
that will hit.
Yes. And he hits you for 20 points of slashing damage.
Holy shit.
And that's his turn. Next is the one that's running in
Now,
circles for Bloodfire.
Are they wielding a sword, or is it like a built-in sword?
They're carrying a sword. Yeah, they're wielding it.
Wielding, okay. Oh, that's right. You have a picture of it, yeah.
Okay.
Are you still up, Korak?
Oh yeah, I just went below half, so my glory
Yeah.
comes in. So now I actually am.
So the one
I can hit him better.
Yeah, the one that was chasing after Bloodfire is now being overrun by guards, and it's still running them through pretty consistently, but it gets toppled over and is just getting stabbed and its armor torn off and all of that kind of stuff, and it will eventually be killed. It takes out a good 15 of the guardsmen though, and the other.
Wow.
Yeah. It definitely leaves a whole pile of bodies in front of it. And the other one was that. So then we go down to Dane, who's just been revived by Aiden. Aiden is
Okay.
on top of the other one, stabbing it.
On top of the one that all the other guards are going after.
Yeah. Yeah, basically there's 5 guards that are standing watching this fight between Korak and the oppressor happen, and they're they don't know when to get in on it. So they're just kind of standing there, and then the other 25, and well now there's 10 of them plus Aiden, are on the other one, and there's one guard over there trying to resuscitate Ishtar.
Okay. Let's see. I don't have any skills in medicine, so I can't help him there.
You don't have to have skills in medicine to help. This guard doesn't. It's just a logic test.
Well, I have 4d6 in logic, so I'm closer to that than I am trying to get, because I know if I get on it takes an action to mount my horse, and then it take another action to get to them on my horse, right?
Well, you could just run over to him. He's not that far away.
Oh, he's not? Okay.
No. Maybe.
Well, I mean, if I wanted to help Aiden.
Oh no, they're not that far away either.
Yeah. Good point. I'm going to go ahead and I'll go over and help Ishtar. 4d6. What's my check on this?
Ishtar, when you got stabbed, how much life did you have? Just 1 hit point?
I had 10.
You had 10. Okay. That's important. And what's your soak?
7.
You have a soak of 7? Okay. So let me just roll something.
I figured 1 hit would have killed me anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and it did.
Yeah.
Oh, it did.
No, I had 10 hit points remaining, and I have 7 soak.
Okay, so yeah, you're looking for a routine check here. You need a 10 to stabilize him. The wound isn't as bad as I initially described because of that armor. That I forgot you had really nice armor on and everything. The sword went through effortlessly, but yeah, it's not so bad. So you need a 10 or higher to stabilize Ishtar.
He stabilized. I got 14.
Okay, yes, you stuff some cloth in the wound, and you prop him up, and you slap him on the face a little bit, and you say, "Stay with me, buddy. Stay with me, buddy." And
Splash a little alcohol in his face.
yeah. Yeah. Then
no, that's considered one action. That's considered one action, correct?
Well, the move and then the assistance. So that was 2.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Alrighty.
Now does that stop the endurance?
Yes. Yes, you're stabilized. You're back up to 1 hit point, so you're no longer at risk of.
Yeah, you got 1 hit point, man.
Of dying, unless you get an arrow to the forehead.
Or an arrow to the knee.
Then next is Korak.
It used to be an adventure, but then I took an arrow to.
Okay. Okay. So Korak's gonna do. He's rolling 8d6 to hit, but he's going to spin 2 to get an extra die of damage, and then he's going to throw a luck die in.
Okay.
Just to make sure he hits. 10, 19, 20, 21, 24.
Whew, that's exactly what you needed.
Wow. Okay, and so he will be doing 5d6 plus 3.
Nice.
And that is 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 points of damage for his first hit.
Okay.
And then he's just going to roll normal for the next hits. And that is 10, 20, 27, 30.
Yep.
Hit. And I'll just roll the last one. And that is a crit. Double sixes.
Nice.
Wait, I thought you just rolled the attack.
I rolled 2 attacks. I said I rolled the first attack and did damage, and then I decided to do both attacks. And so then I was going to do damage afterwards. So I mixed it up on you. So the first damage, which is the normal hit, is 12, 15, 16, 19 points of damage. And then this one is critical.
Do it.
Is he still up? Is he still up?
No,
And...
but I don't want to steal your thunder.
Okay, 11, 12, 15, 18, one explosion, 22.
Okay, so as the guards are watching and they're trying to find their opportunity to get in, you feint to one side, and it can't quite keep track of you. You're too quick, and you stab it in the side of its leg with your spear, and then you kind of like jump over your spear back in front of it. You pull the spear out and then cut through its torso, a clean cut all the way through, and then you come back around with the other side and you just chop its head off, and the thing just falls apart and like and falls to the ground, and that's it. That's all the oppressors, and the guards are done finishing off the last one. If we next up in initiative order technically is Tarask. However, we're not in really initiative anymore. But I do want to go over to Tarask to see what he's doing when he sees this last. You might not have actually make a perception test for me. You might not have actually seen this. You're
sure. But either way, after I fired at the one that attacked Ishtar and heard him and scream and go down, I would have been pretty much immediately. So that would be happening. But
okay, yeah. This is just to see if you notice that the combat is over and the guards have turned on the oppressors.
So I got a 14. I think I would know that at least because I can see blood fire for sure.
Yeah. So you definitely notice that they are no longer trying to attack you guys, and yeah, things have settled down now.
Do these things bleed?
They do. They're profuse. In fact, I didn't mention, but there's just profuse amounts of blood when you cut into these things. The field is covered in blood from this battle.
Right.
It's chow time.
Yep, it's chow time. So I am going to use my bloodlust.
Yeah, the 5 guards that are there watching in awe. They're just like.
I will proceed to I'm actually going to...
Okay, 7 back on that one. I'm back above half.
I'm going to force 2 of those acorns down my gullet.
Well, I think only
Nice.
1. You should only be able to once per day, because you can only benefit from one source of healing once per day.
Okay. One source of heal.
Yeah. So
okay. So
you could benefit from like magical healing or herbs and stuff like that still, but you couldn't benefit from another acorn.
Okay, so I could only take 1 acorn. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there'll come a point where we can hopefully rest and we can roll our willpower pool to get our health back that way too.
Yeah, the endurance pool. Yeah.
Endurance pool. Sorry.
So yes, Aiden will, once this dies down, he will run over to you, Dane, and he has this bittersweet look about him, and he will say, I hope you have somewhere for us to go. My men and I are severely injured, and I don't know why you came back or where you came from, but you've certainly given these men hope this day. We cannot go back in the city. We have to leave, and we have to leave now.
It just so happens we do have a place we can go to. I will I'll mount my horse. I'll have him ride with me. And I guess we will take him and the rest of us. We will, unless there's any objections from anyone else, that we head back to the airship and regroup.
That sounds good to Ishtar. He slowly gets up, and you see him out of his pack. He takes like a little flask. He like chugs it.
You notice
Actually,
that it's
Korak
empty. When you got stabbed through, it spilled any liquids you had, and yeah, it's empty, so no relief.
Korak will. Korak, after he sated his bloodlust, would come over to Ishtar, make sure
Actually,
he's okay. And
actually, I have one of those acorns. I probably would have taken one as I was getting up.
Okay.
All right, give yourself D6.
Yeah, a little bit.
he'll make sure you're mounted on your mule. And
he can't get up on his donkey right now.
Yeah, he actually grabs you and picks you up and puts you on there.
Yeah, and actually you hoist up another guard who can't walk for himself, but he's still alive. You'll wind up needing to mount another guard on Bloodfire if Bloodfire will take it. And yeah, the dog. Go ahead.
I'll walk if I need
Okay.
to make sure, and I will take rear guard.
Yeah, there's enough.
And
Go ahead.
Tarask was riding towards Ishtar, so I was just thinking, yeah, he would try to help him, kind of make sure he gets on his mule, and when the kind of formation takes place, he'll kind of rear back towards the end of the line as well with Korak.
Yeah, as you guys make this slow march back towards the airship, the guards will just begin like asking you how you were able to defeat the oppressors, like when none of them ever could. They tried and they tried and they've been trying for years. What was the secret?
I hear this and I say the same thing I've said the past few times. We're just that damn good.
It was said when you say it, a little blood comes spurtling out of your mouth and down on your clothes. You're like, we're just that damn good.
Whenever they ask Tarask, he just kind of like glowers at them a little bit, and like one time when he gets annoyed at being asked again, he says, "It wasn't easy to kill them. It would have been easier if we hadn't had to kill a few of you beforehand."
They kind of look down. They shut up.
Yeah, Ishtar pretty much ignores them. He's still pretty pissed off about the initial encounter.
I keep telling them to keep moving. And I am just covered in blood. It's dripping from my tusks.
It's just part of Korak's outfit now. Let's just be honest.
As we're riding along, I ask Aiden. So, I have two questions that are pressing. The first, why can we not return?
He says, well, I guess it's complicated, but it's not that complicated. We can't return because of the oppressors. Once they know that we turned on them, they'll kill us all.
So those weren't the only ones.
He laughs, but in like this cynical kind of like, he's like, no, they weren't the only ones. That was a patrol. One of many, many patrols. There are hundreds strewn about the city. Possibly even thousands. I don't know, honestly.
Now, how big is the city compared to like Nala?
It's not as big as Nala, but it is a capital city. So it's fairly large. Just not as big as Nala. I don't know how else to categorize the size of a city.
We can address. We can discuss more about that when we get to the airship.
And he'll ask you about what happened to you. Where you've been all of these years. He thought for sure you were dead.
I explained to him that I was found by some monks, and when I was near death, and I was sent to Palais. They healed me, they nurtured me, they trained me.
And this whole time he's been referring to you as Gareth.
Right.
And yeah, when he does, that you can choose whether or not that flood of memories comes back.
The only thing I would think of in that case would be I'd want to make a logic history check.
Go ahead.
To see. Okay, so 5d6 for this one. I'm sorry, no, 66 because I got my history up to 3, so 66. Wow. 20.
Yes, not everything from your past comes back, but the name comes back. Some fond memories spent with her name. How do you pronounce her name? Kaylin. Kaylin. Some fond memories of her return, and so on. And yes, you're able to, once he says your name, it finally, like, there's a piece of you that was missing that now you feel like, that's right. But I don't know, maybe you're a little bit torn because you've been referred to as Dane for so long now that maybe you don't know who you identify more as.
Right. And that's something I'll weigh as time goes on, but the flood of memories of Kalen immediately brings to mind the second question I have of him. What became of my bride?
He will hesitate at this, and he'll say, he kind of chokes up a little bit, and he says, why don't we get to where we're going? We'll talk more there.
That is fair, but I sense that you have much to tell me.
He just goes silent. You guys arrive at the airship, and it's much the way you left it. It's slowly turning to dusk at this point, and when you arrive with your retinue of injured guardsmen and everything, some crew members come out from the ship to help you all in. They're all taken aback by this spectacle of an airship that you have before you, and some of them are confounded and almost afraid to get on it, and others are like giddy little children. And when you come face to face with Daniel, he'll step to you, Dane, and he'll say, that was much faster than I thought it was. Did you make contact with Lord W.O.I.N?
The city has been I can't find the quite the right word.
Occupied.
Perhaps, yes, has been occupied. I believe you will want to speak with my brother regarding this matter.
His eyes get really wide, and he looks over at Aiden, and he says, "You, oh, I can see the resemblance, yeah." And he'll say, we'll talk about this. You all clearly need rest. Please come." And he'll beckon for just you four to come with him. Not Aiden or anybody else, just you four. And he'll take you four into his quarters, which are quite nice. And he will lay hands on each of you. He spends about 10 minutes on each of you, casting a spell of...
Tarask will wave him away when he comes down. He's at full health.
Yeah, he comes up to you and he's like... And you're like... He's like... So... yeah, he'll come over to Ishtar first, and he kind of meditates over you with his hands, and he will heal you for not as much as I hoped. 11 points of health. You regain back there. Then he'll shift over to Korak and spend another 10 minutes over you. This time, much more potency. 16, 19, 21 points of health back.
Okay. I'm at full.
Okay, and then he moves over to Dane, whom he heals for 8, 11, 16 points of health.
Okay.
And when he's done...
It's supposed to be just under half.
When he's done with all of you, he looks kind of tired out from that, and he sits back and he lights a pipe. And which is funny because you've never seen him smoke anything until now. It seems like he's not all that experienced at handling the pipe and everything, and he's kind of taken to it. But it's something that it might be a look he's going for, And he says, well, what are we going to tell the lords and ladies if you are unable to get inside the city and confirm if Lord W.O.I.N is alive or not? That's still our mission. We haven't completed it yet, right?
Well,
We have some other men here. Maybe they know.
As I said before, my brother may have more information regarding Lord W.O.I.N's condition.
And he'll ask you to go gather him.
That myself.
He'll say, "Go gather your brother and bring him here."
Yeah. We
Okay,
should have grabbed
I'll
some
do
of the
that.
pieces of one of those things.
What was that?
We should have grabbed some of the pieces of one of those things for us.
Korak might have a little bit in his teeth.
So do you go get
Just in
Aiden?
case if we go back and report this and they don't believe
Yeah,
us, we can be like, no, here.
Yeah, I leave and then come back with Aiden. I introduce him to Daniel.
He shakes his hand, and he will lay his hands on him as well. This time, not nearly as long. Aiden isn't very injured, but if you had to guess, you'd say he might have healed him for about 12 points of damage, and he liked that. So, yes, you begin to question Aiden, and Aiden will explain that when the city was raided in the fight that he lost everything. The city lost everything. The city lost its freedom, it lost its dignity and pride, and it lost its leader, Lord Gaiman. Technically, Lord Gaiman still lives, he says. And he says this, and he kind of adjusts his armor as though he's some sort of official. He says, Lord Gaiman still lives. However, he's not the Lord that we knew and grew to love. I had the distinct unpleasure of serving as the head guard, or captain of the guard in the city, and I answered directly to Lord Gaiman, and I can tell you that after those beasts came and left when they assaulted our city, Lord Gaiman was turned into a hideous monster. He's not himself anymore. Whatever dwarf was there is now given way to a hideous monstrosity that I don't know what else to say about him.
Is he the one behind the oppressors?
They answer to him, but they don't serve him. They serve the lady.
I just want to check. When we were back there, it was Aiden that gave the order for them to get us.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
So after he kind of winds down, Taraska's going to kind of look over at him and be like, tell me, what was the game there at the gate? You say you would wish to be against them, yet it was you who gave the order to take us. And furthermore, when I fled, it seemed as though you would be taken hostage. And yet, when it seemed as though I might get away, you attacked us all. What was at play?
He turns and he's shaking with anger at this point, and he says, I had no choice. I tried to get you to lower your weapons. I gave you the opportunity to run away. I did everything I could. But as soon as those...
I took your opportunity. I ran away. What was my companion on the wall to do? I abandoned my friends.
He says, you were the only one who was running. And then he says, I had no choice when those oppressors came out of that gatehouse. I had a decision to make. And the only thing I've ever seen those things do is slaughter. That is the only thing they ever do. We've never been able to kill one. We've tried and we've tried. So I've been living this whole time forced to serve them against my will. And as soon as they came around the corner, I had no choice but to try to get you to drop your weapons and to come with us. Because if they saw us fighting, even bickering, they would tear you to shreds and I would have to watch.
And Teres just stands up at the end, almost cutting him off. And he just says, "There's always a choice," and kind of walks away from him a bit towards Daniel, kind of with his hand out, basically silently asking if he could use his pipe.
He kind of like, he was really like
Ishtar.
interested in this conversation and everything, and then it's like,
Ishtar pulls out one of his like weird joint things and passes it over.
And Duress takes that instead and goes, "Never mind." I seem to recall
Ishtar
that
starts.
being a good experience last session we had that. So yeah, I'll take that.
Ishtar starts smoking one too.
I look at it and say, you will have to forgive him. He's it's taken a while for me to gain his trust, and vice versa.
And he kind of takes a big puff and he kind of blows it out. And he goes, "Who says you have? Dane, Gareth, whatever your name is."
And Ishtar says, "You're also the ones that shot first without even giving us a warning."
Clark says, "Who's Gareth?"
Yeah, that's what Ishtar said.
when you say that,
But
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, was he even close enough to hear that initially?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you had said that we heard him saying Gareth.
Yeah, no,
before while we were
you
walking.
have. Yeah, he's been referring to the. I mean,
Okay,
I sure
I
they
couldn't
were.
remember.
Yeah, they were talking kind of as you guys marched, and I'm sure that there
On the
was.
way back,
Yeah, on the way back. Yeah. When Ishtar, when you bring up them firing first, he'll turn to you and he'll say, "My guardsmen were under strict orders to basically kill scouts on site. Lord Gaiman has specifically set a rule in the city that no one leaves and no one comes in. And if we have people here that are going to be sending scout reports back off to the other lords and ladies, he wants them killed. So that's probably why they attacked you."
So in other words, we should get out of here as soon as possible.
He seems
Aiden,
visibly
you
torn
said
when you say that.
What was that, Nathan?
When you say, so basically we should just get the heck out of Dodge. He kind of looks down to the ground and scratches his head, and he looks really torn about that. He can't come down one way or the other on that.
Not pleasant to be put in a difficult situation, is it, Aiden?
He glowers at you, and he says, and he like says it through his teeth. He has so much bridled anger, and he says, "You don't know what a difficult situation is, elf."
I hate humans. Grumble, grumble.
you had said just backtracking. You had said that that there was a lady in charge of the or I guess Lay was in charge of the oppressors. I was going to see about making a logic history roll, see if I knew that lady's name.
Oh no, he referred to her as the lady, as in Lady Naladri.
Okay.
Yeah. They take orders from Lord Gaiman, and yeah, this would have been made apparent in his explanation. They take orders from him. They're under his command, but ultimately they don't answer to him. They answer to Lady Naladri, because it was her forces that stormed Llane in that battle where he thought you were killed, and he lost everything.
Okay.
He says, He says, "Why? What brought you here? Why are you even here?"
I'm having to out of character. I'm trying to remember history.
We came here to find Lord Gaiman and find out why he disappeared and hasn't shown at any meetings.
Yeah, he went off the grid, and like we were supposed to investigate that.
He nods, and
we were asked to do this by the other lords and ladies.
He says,
"Yes, this was our like royal mission."
And
royalty mission, whatever.
He'll say, "And how many of the other lords and ladies are left?"
Do we know?
There are 2 that are missing. Lord Gaiman and Lady
Incanth.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I will turn to Daniel and say, Daniel, is this proof enough? Do we need to go in and grab a monstrous dwarf and drag him out of there?
And
kicking and screaming
with hundreds of these muscle-bound plates of armor.
Oh, and I forgot about Sir Remshel again. We can assume that he's been on the Anchored Fortune, just kind of running guard there, and everything. So he's there. He's not in the room with you presently, but I was just thinking out loud. And Daniel will think about it, and he'll say, "Well, this is very disturbing information, and I don't know why I'm not being drawn here. Normally, when there is darkness to be quelled, when there is a scar on the land that needs mending, I feel called there. But this place doesn't call to me, and I don't seem to be receiving any direction to take any further action here. So, as far as, I mean, the idea is novel, going and killing the evil dwarf king, but I'm not feeling all that compelled to do so. And I don't know why. He seems like a truly evil person, and that makes me want to purge him from the land."
I have no problem with that, although we are greatly outnumbered.
He says, and maybe that's why I'm not feeling drawn here.
Five. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ishtar.
Like, Ishtar's like, yeah, it sounds like a good plan, but we're massively outgunned.
Yeah, we had 5 of those things come at us, and
they dropped 2.
It dropped 2 of us.
And yeah. And Aiden will speak up, and he'll look at the 4 of you, and he'll say, "What you did out there on the battlefield was impressive against those oppressors. Don't sell yourself short. But I've seen Lord Gaiman, and you can't stand up to him. He will tear you limb from limb. I do have a problem, though." And when he says that, and as he goes to kind of like articulate what his problem is, Daniel speaks in, and he says, "Yes." Bless you.
Bless you.
Sorry.
He says, "Yes, you do. You need to go back. You have family back in the city. You can't leave." He says, "And I can't go back either. If I show my face there, I'll be killed on the spot. But I can't abandon my family. The oppressors, I
speak up, say, and I refuse to be separated from my family again without knowing they're safe.
Jeez, going around.
Dane will look at, or not Dane, Daniel will look at you, Dane, and he'll say, we will talk about that at another time, but Aiden, please continue. What is it the oppressors do? What has this city so on lockdown, I guess he's trying to ask, and then Aiden will explain that basically the way Lord Gaiman runs the city now is only the most useful people are guaranteed to live, because the city is now used, as far as Aiden can tell, as far as he can tell, as far as I can tell, the city is used as a source of food or fuel for Lady Naladri. And when she's feeling weak or needs energy, she'll come to this city as a reliable source, and her soul storm will cackle above the city, and she'll send her soul harvesters down to steal the souls of those that we leave out for them to eat. And Lord Gaiman says the least useful people are the ones who get left out. And so if I'm not there
in the past,
if I'm not there with my family, the woman and child, they're considered completely useless. The only use they have is to sire more children, and they can't do that unless I'm there. I have to go back to them. I have to get back and get them out of there.
When he mentions the lady, Tarask is gonna, not loudly, but probably near enough to where Daniel might overhear. Tarask just kind of mumbles under his breath when he says, like, as the lady comes back here for energy, he just goes, but the real question is, who does she work for?
And yeah, you say that, and yeah, only Daniel. You're just, because you're kind of over there smoking your joint and saying it to yourself. You're like, yeah, but conspiracy theories, man. and Daniel and Daniel's like, he hears you, but he kind of tucks that away, and he doesn't say anything. He kind of like shoots a sideways glance over to you and doesn't say anything else. And Aiden will say, I don't know what cruel fate brought you here back into my life, Gareth. I'm happy to see you, but I have to go back. And if this was all the information you all needed, then I suggest you leave while you still can. They will be not too far behind us. And if I am to have any chance to getting back into the city, I need to get as far away from this ship and all of you as possible so I can sneak back in and get my family out of there.
Do you know a way of getting into the city?
He thinks about it and he says, well, since the oppressors came, they haven't really kept up on the upkeep of the walls, so I'm going to assume that there are a few old places that I know of that I'll be able to sneak in and get up through.
Then if you go, I go with you, brother. I am not leaving my family behind again. I will help you. I will help you. And we will bring them back here.
Daniel will kind of stand up as though to kind of gesture to everybody like, okay, this conversation's over. He asks Aiden, he's like, how much time do you think we have? Aiden will say, maybe half an hour, and they'll be here. Daniel says, okay. He'll say to all of you, give me 5 minutes. And he'll usher you out the door.
As we head out, I'll motion to Aiden and say, before we go on this mission, I believe there was something you were needing to tell me regarding my bride.
So he will continue to walk out, and as you're finishing asking him that question, Daniel stops you, and he says, except you. Stay here for a moment. And as everybody else shuffles out of the door, he'll shut the door behind them, and it's just you and him in the room. And he said, this is what I needed the 5 minutes for. He says, Dane, do you remember when I told you that there would be trials to becoming a member of the White Flame, and that the question I asked you about if you would be willing to let go of certain things? This is one of those times. You cannot go on this mission with your brother. There's a reason I'm not feeling drawn here. If you go there, you will die and sacrifice everything you've worked so hard for. You need to ask yourself what is truly important to you. Is it your family? Or is it your devotion to doing the right thing?
Isn't helping my family not doing the right thing?
He says, he sits and he says, you have to have a bigger picture. You have to understand that just helping somebody isn't always the best thing to do. Not if it means suicide. If we could help everybody, we would. But the sad truth is that we can't. There are some battles we have to choose to fight, and others we have to choose to walk away from. And this is one of those battles we have to choose to walk away from.
You understand what you're asking me to do. You understand you're asking me to potentially watch as my brother, who I just reunited with, to potentially watch him die.
He says, I know very well what all of this means. I've had to make tough decisions in my life too. Maybe not as awkward or as distressing as this, but nonetheless, if your service is indeed to the White Flame, you'll do what is right.
If that's truly where my service is meant to lie, then I must at least have my final moments with my brother. Do not deny me the opportunity to say a final goodbye.
He says, why would I stop you? And he'll gesture you to the door.
Okay. So I will head out the door. I'm assuming that Aiden's there waiting.
Yeah, you find him conversing with another guard, and he's kind of
Okay.
taking a few extra pieces of equipment and grabbing, concealing a little dagger here and something there, so on and so forth.
Okay. So I walk over to him, I put my hand on his shoulder, and say, I believe we need to speak in private.
And he won't make eye contact with you, but he'll nod, and he'll finish what he's doing, and he'll look at you quickly, and then he'll kind of motion for his head to, or he'll say, "Do you have somewhere in mind we can talk?"
I'll take him to my room. I'll tell him, give me just one moment. I'll go in. I'll make sure that my little blue friend is hidden away, and then I will usher him in.
He's been hanging out with Sir Remshel.
Okay, he has. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Then we're good. So, I'll look at him as we walk in the room. So you're going to tell me something, but obviously we keep getting pulled away from that. So I think the time has come.
Yep, and he'll it's like a soap opera. He stops you from finishing your sentence. You're like, I think the time is, and then before you say come, he says, Kaylin is my wife. And he'll say, I didn't want to tell you because I know that you and her were madly in love, and the truth is she still is in love with you. I can't keep that up. He says that she never stopped loving you, but the hard truth was that when Lady Naladri's forces came, she was going to be devoured by the soul harvesters. She was useless to them. The only use a woman has in the city of Llane is to produce children. If a woman is not married, she gets devoured by the soul harvesters. And so I took her as my wife, and we have a child. He's 6 years old. We named him Gareth, after you, because we thought you were dead. And he struggles so hard to make eye contact with you when he says all of this.
He's not the only one struggling with the eye contact right now. Thane looks up to Aiden, tears streaming down his face. You did exactly what you needed to do. And that's why I'm about to tell you what I need to do and what then you will need to do as a result. I cannot go with you. As much as I want to, I cannot go with you to save them. I wish I could.
He
He
nods silently.
When I was taken to the monastery, I was told then that I had a much higher calling. I'm just now learning what that calling is. So I only ask you to make one promise to me. You save Kaylin. You save your child. You get yourself to Nala. I will, in the by and by, I will return. I ask you to do two things for me. One, you tell Kaylin nothing of my living. I wish that to be my secret to reveal when the time is right. In the meantime, you be the husband and father that I know you're meant to be.
And with that, he'll turn to you and he'll make solid eye contact with you, and you guys basically have this bromance, this bro moment, and you have hugs, and all that kind of stuff. And he'll stand up and he'll say, I'm sorry that it's going to have to be this way. And he's struggling to talk through he's trying to regain his composure. He's like, I'm sorry that things happened this way. And you always were the more driven one. Well, I need to get going, and you guys need to get going too. I hope and pray truly, brother, to see you again someday, but if I don't, I'm glad to have had the opportunity to see you once more, to know that you live, and to know that you're off doing bigger and better things than either of us ever imagined as kids.
Before you go, I hand him a letter. For this letter is for Kaylin. She is only to receive it if you don't make it. Have it on your person. So that way, if you don't make it to Nala, she'll know to be there and know that I will be waiting for her.
He takes it and tucks it away. And he says, it's time.
I give my customary bow that I learned at the monastery. My brother, blessings upon you.
And he'll kind of roll his eyes and say, look at you. And he comes in for another quick bro hug. And then he'll make his way out the door. And he comes back out, and there are two guardsmen that are ready to go with him. And as the sun is kind of setting and the day is drawing to an end, it becomes darker faster than it should. And he and his two guards make their way off of the airship, and as they slip away into the night, and the crew members on the airship, you guys are basically taking a whole bunch of these guards with you now. You've got about 13 to 15 of these guards with you now, and they're helping the crew and all that kind of stuff, and they pull the two side anchors. They get the hot air going on the blimp above, and the ogres begin to sway the wings and everything, and they pull the anchor out, the main anchor, and the ship begins to take off, and you see in the distance a retinue of those oppressors, of 30 of them, now marching, following the tracks towards the airship. And you can see them. But then off in the distance, you see something else that is what it's making darker than it should be is the soul storm coming over Llane. And as that draws closer, Tarask, you are where are you on the ship right now?
I'm getting booze with Ishtar.
Okay, so you kind of like, it's that scene where there's the two guys sitting at a bar and like all of this conversation that is indiscernible, and the camera kind of zooms in on your back and you can see like the side of your face, you're talking to somebody or whatever, and then it like drills into your brain, and then your mind is taken over with this thought, and you stop mid-sentence in whatever conversation you're having, and you're struck with that vision again. This time it is simply a little girl, not a puppet this time, but instead it's a little girl who is struggling to get these, and she's sitting alone in a room, in a black room, long brown hair, and she's struggling to get these manacles off of her hands, and she's futilely trying to get these manacles off of her feet and hands, and she's casually just has this gag around her mouth and everything, and that vision very strongly overtakes you for a moment. And
any recognition of the girl?
This seems to be the same portrayal of it's a recurring theme. It's either a puppet that looks like your mother, a little girl that looks like a little girl version of your mother. It all seems to be a recurring theme. It's this long brown-haired girl with these recognizable eyes that you identify with. And when she seems to take notice of you in this vision and everything, and you are there in the room with her, and you go to try to help her take these manacles off, and you see your hands trying to take it, and you see her just kind of staring at you, and she pushes you away gently, and she just touches the side of your face. And then the vision ends, and you come back, and you're sitting there in the middle of the bar, and, Ishtar's in the middle of laughing at some joke he just said. He's like, hey, you know what I mean? And you're like, yeah.
Ishtar's like showing someone, like, see this? The whole sword went right through.
And Tarask kind of like shakes out of it. He kind of tries to jump back in. He's just like, yeah, you could hear him from all the way down the hill. Just, ah! It was loud. He's screaming like a baby, Ishtar. And he tries to like overcompensate. He's like, yeah, it was really loud, like a baby. Yeah, salute, cheers.
Yep.
He kind of grabs him. And he's like, I kind of like you, human. Don't usually like human.
And yes, as the
all this go.
Oh, go ahead.
I poured Tarask another shot.
I was going to say, while that's going on,
whatever the joint type things.
I was going to say, while that's going on, I would go back and go back to Daniel, and pretty much just by my showing up, I would assume that he is aware of what decision I made, and I will look for him and say, I'm ready to continue my training.
And we end with a shot of the airship just kind of turning away from the city of Llane, and a cackling, maniacal-looking storm settling in over top of Llane, and the distant sounds of screaming and crying can be heard as the airship pulls away into the distance. And that's where we end tonight.
Wow.
Alrighty.
Thanks for the gut shots. God.